We've got a big update, a huge update on our favorite interstellar object. It could be the biggest update in the solar system. Take a look at this. This is 3I Atlas. You know how the last time we talked about it went behind the sun?
China just beat NASA to something no one saw coming. The first ever close-up images of an interstellar visitor named 3I Atlas. These photos show geometric ridges and sharp grid-like lines on an object that shouldn't even exist in our solar system.
Questions still remain about 3I Atlas. Now, a lawmaker is pressing NASA for new images of the space phenomenon, and could it also have a traveling companion?
NASA had the data first, but stayed silent while China went public. Let's break down what these images reveal, why NASA stayed silent, and what 3I Atlas might really be. The images that shocked astronomy. On April the 3rd, China released the first ever clear, close-up photos of an interstellar object, and they did it before NASA. The images came from China's Tianwen-1 Mars orbiter and showed an object called 3I Atlas, which had come from outside our solar system. But the surface of this object was not rough or bumpy like most comets. Instead, it looked covered with sharp, grid-like ridges that seemed to cross each other in straight lines. Are these strange lines just natural patterns, or could they be signs of something made by intelligent life? Had China really beaten NASA to the discovery that might change how we understand the universe? The release happened live at 9 o'clock in the morning, Beijing time. The China National Space Administration, or CNSA, showed 6 detailed photos on screen, each with a resolution of about 30 meters per pixel. To put that in perspective, these were almost 5 times clearer than any picture ever taken of an object from outside our solar system. For the first time, scientists could see surface details on a visitor from another star, grooves, edges, and repeating square-like shapes carved into its crust. The sight was unbelievable. Earlier interstellar visitors, like Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019, had looked blurry and shapeless, but this one seemed different, almost as if it had been purposely built. The pictures had actually been taken a few days earlier, on March the 29th, 2025, when Tianwen-1's camera had a perfect view of 3I Atlas near the orbit of Mars. The data was sent back to China, processed, and checked by engineers in Xi'an. Then, in a surprise decision, CNSA made everything public almost right away, including data about the object's orbit and light readings. That openness shocked many people, as typically in space research, governments usually take months to study data before releasing it. Soon, experts from the European Space Agency and other observatories confirmed the photos were real. "We are seeing geometry on a cosmic object where we shouldn't," said Dr. Sarah Kellerman from Cambridge University. "It could be a natural process we don't understand yet, or something else entirely." Meanwhile, NASA's silence made everything even more suspicious. NASA had been watching 3I Atlas since early 2025 with both the Hubble and James Webb Space telescopes. According to insiders, NASA already had its own high-quality pictures at least 12 hours before China's release. But when asked to comment, the space agency did not respond. Part of the reason was political. The United States government was going through a partial shutdown that week because of a budget disagreement in Congress. As a result, many government agencies, including NASA, could not post on social media or release new data. In the meantime, China took the lead and captured the world's attention, making the government look bold and transparent, while NASA just seemed secretive by contrast. The European Space Agency soon released its own confirmation, saying the Chinese data was accurate and verifiable. Around the same time, CNSA shared even more files, including infrared readings that showed how the object reflected sunlight and rotated in space. Based on these measurements, scientists estimated that 3I Atlas was about 90 meters across and spinning in an uneven way, exposing flat surfaces as it turned. Independent researchers joined in too. A popular science YouTuber Dr. Anton Petrov, explained that the patterns might be natural. He said they could form when ice under the surface heats up and cracks in straight lines, similar to the way dry mud splits as it dries. But not everyone agreed. Dr. Kellerman replied that the shapes looked too clean and regular. The biggest mystery is, what could make patterns like these in deep space? Eventually, NASA broke its silence. The agency released a short, careful statement saying that no evidence supports claims of artificial origin. It also explained that its own data would only be published after it was reviewed by scientists. China, on the other hand, embraced the moment. State television called the event a historic success for Chinese space exploration. Commentators said Tianwen-1 had proven that China was now a major player in deep space research. The country was no longer just a follower in the space race, but now leading it. People were looking to Beijing, not Washington, for answers about the universe. As for what was revealed upon studying the data, several observatories confirmed that the object's brightness changed in regular intervals as it spun, suggesting parts of the surface were made of different materials. That meant the patterns weren't just shadows or camera tricks. They were physical, possibly layers of rock and metal forming in some unknown way. For scientists, this was both exciting and confusing. No natural process they knew could create such even spacing or repeating grids on an interstellar body. So what does this mean? Was China's decision to release the photos immediately an act of scientific honesty or a smart political move meant to outshine NASA? And beyond that, what if those strange, straight ridges on 3I Atlas really are the first signs of something built, not born? For the first time, maybe the biggest discovery in human history isn't about who found the object, but who dared to show it first. But to understand what China really captured that day, we first need to understand what 3I Atlas actually is, and why scientists are calling it the strangest visitor our solar system has ever seen. The cosmic visitor. What exactly is 3I Atlas? Just a few months ago, a brand new interstellar object entered our solar system. Named 3I Atlas, it became only the third confirmed visitor ever detected from another star system. For astronomers, this was a piece of another world, a physical fragment of deep space that had traveled for millions, maybe even billions, of years before crossing paths with our Sun. And yet, when scientists looked closely, what they saw didn't fit anything they expected. Why was this object glowing green? Why did it hide its tail when every other comet shows one? And how could something that came from the depths of space look like it had straight edges? To understand why 3I Atlas has shaken the scientific world, we need to look back at its cosmic predecessors, two earlier interstellar visitors that changed astronomy forever. The first was Oumuamua, discovered in October 2017 by a telescope in Hawaii. It was the first time in history that scientists had spotted an object clearly coming from outside our solar system. Its path was too fast and too steep for it to have formed here. It was moving at about 87 kilometers per second, far faster than any ordinary asteroid. But what shocked everyone wasn't just its speed, it was its shape and behavior. Oumuamua didn't have a visible tail, yet it accelerated slightly as it moved away from the Sun. Some scientists said this was due to gas escaping from its surface, but others, including Harvard astrophysicist Dr. Avi Loeb, suggested it might be something else, possibly a piece of alien technology, like a solar sail reflecting sunlight. Just 2 years later, in August 2019, another interstellar object appeared, 2I Borisov. Unlike Oumuamua, this one looked and acted more like a traditional comet. It had a bright tail, a cloud of gas, and a visible nucleus. Borisov proved that interstellar visitors could look familiar, but it also confirmed that such objects were extremely rare. Out of the countless comets and asteroids orbiting the Sun, only 2 had ever been confirmed to come from beyond its gravitational pull. That's what makes the discovery of 3I Atlas in 2025 so extraordinary. We have only seen 3 in all of recorded history, and each one has rewritten what we thought we knew about how the universe works. An interstellar object is simply a body, like a comet or asteroid that didn't form in our solar system. Instead, it comes from somewhere else entirely, ejected from another star's orbit long ago and drifting across the galaxy until it passes near our Sun. The reason these objects are so rare is that space is unimaginably vast. The chances of one happening to cross our solar system are tiny, and even when one does, it's incredibly difficult to detect because it moves so quickly. Most of them pass by unnoticed, dark and silent. But 3I Atlas was different, entering the scene with a strange green glow that no one could explain. The object was first spotted in early January 2025 by the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, or ATLAS, based in Hawaii. Far from an ordinary comet, scientists realized something extraordinary when they took a closer look, that its speed and angle showed that it was not bound by the Sun's gravity. In other words, it wasn't looping around the solar system like our planets or comets normally do. It was simply passing through. That confirmed it was interstellar. Soon, telescopes all around the world turned toward it. As astronomers observed more closely, the mystery deepened. 3I Atlas behaved in ways that defied logic. Its brightness didn't stay constant. It flickered, sometimes dimming and then glowing stronger again. Its color also shifted, at times shining with a faint emerald tint. Some suggested this glow came from cyanogen gas, which sometimes makes comets appear green. But others pointed out that the green light came from regions where no gas should have been. Even more puzzling, it seemed to have a thick cloud of dust around it that concealed its tail, a behavior opposite to what we see in normal comets, whose tails stretch out visibly as sunlight pushes gas and dust away. So what makes 3I Atlas so different from the other 2 interstellar objects we've seen? For one, the level of structure on its surface. High-resolution images released by China and confirmed by other agencies showed straight, evenly spaced ridges and junction points, features that almost looked designed. Natural space rocks usually have chaotic surfaces shaped by impacts or melting, but 3I Atlas showed lines that ran parallel and intersected neatly, almost like a grid. No known geological or physical process can easily explain that. Scientists have offered a few theories. Some say the features could result from thermal fracturing, which is the process when ices deep inside an object heat up and crack in predictable ways as they expand and cool. Others think they might be the result of radiation exposure over millions of years, creating stress patterns that repeat. But even those explanations struggle to fit the exact symmetry and spacing of the patterns. Nature can make straight lines, but arguably not this many and not this perfect. This debate has split the scientific community. On one side are researchers who believe the object is entirely natural, just unlike anything we've seen before. They argue that the solar system is just one example of how planets and comets form, and that objects from other star systems could have very different materials and processes shaping them. On the other side are those who think we might be looking at something more, perhaps a fragment of an artificial structure, a long-lost probe, or even debris from a civilization that once existed around another star. Dr. Avi Loeb, known for his controversial view of Oumuamua, has been one of the loudest voices in this second group. He argues that human science has a long history of assuming everything must be natural until proven otherwise, a bias that could make us miss signs of artificial design. In his words, if we find a plastic bottle on the beach, we don't assume the ocean made it. We assume someone did. Loeb believes the geometric lines on 3I Atlas might fit that same logic. His team at Harvard's Galileo project has already begun studying the available data to see if the patterns match any known natural formation or if they hint at something engineered. Of course, most scientists remain cautious. They warn against jumping to conclusions based on limited data. Space is full of surprises, and strange patterns don't necessarily mean alien technology. Yet even the skeptics admit that 3I Atlas is forcing them to rethink what they know about how objects form and evolve in interstellar space. And if it really is something designed, then who or what designed it? Why NASA stayed silent? For an agency known for live streaming asteroid flybys and tweeting raw telescope data, NASA's silence upon the announcement of 3I Atlas was unsettling. Was this scientific caution, or was something bigger at play? Usually, NASA has a clear process for sharing new space discoveries. When a new object is found, scientists from different observatories send their data to an international database. NASA then releases the images and information so that other researchers, and even the public, can see it. This open system helps scientists check each other's work and build trust with everyone watching from Earth. But that didn't happen this time. In mid-March 2025, weeks before China's release, NASA suddenly locked access to several sets of 3I Atlas images. These photos were taken using the Deep Space Network and the Hubble Space Telescope, but then labeled under review, and even temporarily classified. These are not normal labels for a space rock. Some experts believe NASA was just being cautious. 3I Atlas was acting strange. Its light was changing, its color was shifting, and its surface looked oddly geometric, with sharp lines that didn't look natural. NASA might have been afraid of jumping to conclusions, like what happened with Oumuamua back in 2017. Back then, a cigar-shaped object passed through our solar system, and some scientists said it might be alien technology. The debate went on for years. NASA could have wanted to avoid that kind of chaos again. But is that really what happened? For years, space exploration has been a quiet race between the United States and China. Both countries want to be the first to achieve major space goals, building bases on the Moon, landing on Mars, and exploring deep space. So, when China released the first close-up photos of an interstellar object, it was a geopolitical victory. Whoever releases a discovery first gains international recognition and influence. Plus, at that time, the US government was dealing with a partial shutdown. NASA's budget was under review, and officials were being extra cautious about public communication, which explains the silence. But there's another, more secretive theory that NASA's data might have been classified for national security reasons. This might sound dramatic, but it has happened previously in US history. NASA's telescopes and radar systems often overlap with US defense technology. If NASA's instruments picked up something unusual, like metallic reflections or perfect straight lines, that information might have triggered automatic classification rules. Data can be marked restricted until experts confirm it doesn't pose any kind of security concern. Something similar happened during the Cold War, in which the US kept a lot of space data hidden because it overlapped with spy satellite research. For example, images from the Corona satellite program were kept secret for decades. Even in the early 2000s, some asteroid data was redacted because it came from dual-use technology, meaning tools shared by scientists and the military. When that happens, discoveries can get tangled in legal and political restrictions. If something about 3I Atlas looked non-natural, NASA may have had to follow those same secrecy laws. Then came the leaks. A post on a private jet propulsion laboratory forum mentioned that 3I Atlas didn't match any known types of rock or ice. It claimed the light readings were not random, meaning they might come from something structured. If that data was real, it would suggest that NASA had seen something very, very unusual. Of course, not everyone believes in a cover-up, and the mystery could just be a mix of bad timing and government red tape. Still, some things don't add up. While the debate continues, other countries have moved ahead. China's open release pushed agencies like the European Space Agency, Russia's Roscosmos, and Japan's JAXA to share their own findings. ESA released infrared readings, Roscosmos shared low-resolution radar data, and JAXA confirmed it detected strange light patterns around 3I Atlas. Together, these global releases built a fuller picture, one that's still far from complete, but much more transparent than NASA's. Independent researchers and even amateur astronomers started analyzing the images themselves, finding repeating geometric patterns and unexplained shadows. In a strange way, the race for truth became even more intense than the race for discovery. Around the world, people began to question whether scientific information should ever be locked away. If 3I Atlas turns out to be a natural interstellar visitor, the secrecy might only hurt NASA's reputation. But if it's not, if there's even a chance that it's artificial, then NASA's silence might go down as one of the most mysterious decisions in space history. And that silence has created a deep divide between those who think NASA is acting responsibly and those who believe the agency is hiding evidence that could change everything we know about life beyond Earth. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the next video for more exciting content.